The Senate will come to order. The Secretary will call the roll.
Senator Buck. Here. Senator Canizaro. Here. Senator Daley. Here. Senator Doñate. Senator Dondero Loop. Here. Senator Flores. Present. Senator Goycochea. Senator Hammond. Here. Senator Hansen. Here. Senator Harris. Here. Senator Krasner. Here. Senator Lang. Here. Senator Neal. Here. Senator Wynn. Here. Senator Orenshaw. Here. Senator Pizzina. Senator Scheibel. Here. Senator Seavers-Gansert. Here. Senator Spearman. Here. Senator Stone. Here. Senator Titus.
Thank you. Let the record reflect there are 21 senators present. Please rise for the prayer by Pastor Randy Roser of the Bridge Church in Carson City, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good afternoon. Let's pray. Lord Father in heaven, I pray for our senators, Lord, who love you with all their hearts, their mind, their soul, their strength. Lord, bless them, protect them, give them peace as they do their best to fulfill your will here on earth. And Lord, even greater this morning, I want to pray for our young people that are going in and out of these chambers, Lord, that they witness godly integrity, morals, ethics, to see how our state is truly run. Lord, reveal your presence and glory in this place to all people who will witness your mighty works, that your light shines out through the darkness with love and power. Holy Spirit, I pray you move the here and now, all for your glory. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Thank you, sir.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order of Business 3, reading and approval of the journal by previous order of the Senate. The reading of the journal is dispensed with, and the President and Secretary are authorized to make necessary corrections and additions. We'll now go to Order of Business 16, remarks from the floor, introduction of guests. Senator Dondero Loop.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. With us today, and for 4 legislative sessions now, Julie Murray and her team at Moonridge Group have brought leaders from around the state to join us here at the Nevada Legislature. The funders here are from 2 groups that Moonridge convenes, Greater Good Council and the Nevada Corporate Giving Council. Additionally, this year, nonprofit leaders from northern and southern Nevada joined the group and are seated on the assembly floor. As such, today's event with the funders and nonprofits is being called Nonprofit and Philanthropy Day at the legislature. And all who are with us today are important leaders who help to make our communities and state a more vibrant and healthy place to live, work, and play. I have a proclamation that I would like to present to Julie Murray and Aaron Mulvaney. And so I will not read the whole thing, but I will read part of it. Today, we'd like to welcome Nevada's generous philanthropic community and our vital nonprofit sector to the floor of the Senate. The collaboration among governing bodies, philanthropists, and nonprofit organizations creates a strong social safety net in our state and improves the quality of life for all residents. And during the pandemic, these essential partnerships were mobilized as never before, and this is 100% true. Moving mountains to provide for care for seniors, students, and families where they needed it most. The 2022 Nevada Corporate Giving Report, produced for the Nevada Corporate Giving Council by the Moonridge Group in collaboration with Applied Analysis, found that 2019 through 2021 corporate philanthropy in Nevada reached an estimated $1.7 billion, and philanthropists have increased their donations every year after that. Without the resolute of philanthropists and nonprofits who do not rest until every Nevadan has the opportunity to live, learn, work, and play, Nevada would not be the diverse and precious place we call home. Therefore, I would like to proclaim today Nevada State's Philanthropic Community and Nonprofit Day at the legislature. Please make our guests feel welcome.
Senator Flores.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I am joined by three phenomenal guests. First, sitting with me are two incredibly impressive women, Ann Barnett and Linda Bridges. Ann Barnett is the CEO of the Nevada Contractors Association. If you could please rise. Oh, you already rose. And which represents the commercial construction industry in Southern Nevada. And I think most of you at this point have had an opportunity to interact with them. And they'll be walking around, so make sure that you give yourself an opportunity to sit down and learn about their important issues. Also, Linda Bridges is an award-winning marketing and brand strategist and nonprofit leader. She currently serves as a vice president of marketing and communications for Miracle Flights, a Las Vegas-based nonprofit that provides free commercial flights to those in need of life-changing medical care. In this role, Linda directs all strategic marketing, communications, and community relations to increase brand awareness, donor engagement, and community support locally and nationwide. I also have a really good personal friend, Johnny Dominguez, who I just found out today he was here. So you could have texted me, brother. It's all good. He's the executive director after school, out of school leaders and training program based in East Las Vegas, which empowers first-generation college students to be the next generation of diverse leaders. They impact over 200 students. If you could please give them a warm welcome.
Senator Krasner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, I am so happy to welcome the students from Foothills Church Academy. So if you're up in the balcony, please stand up and be recognized. And I do have some with me. Thank you. There they are. On the floor with me, I have Samantha Orr, Dylan Wynn, Grayson Orr, and Vaughn Elliott, plus all the guests up in the balcony. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's make them feel welcome, please.
Senator Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a guest with me here today. Great to have her here. Actually, I thought I was going to have two guests. You want to rise? I thought I was going to have two guests, but the other guest that I have decided to sit with my colleague from District 2. She happens to be my boss, which means I can't fire her, but I can shame her publicly in front of everybody for not sitting with me. But we'll talk about that another day. But I have with me here today, and I'm glad that she's right here on my left. This is Linda Taché. She has started the Collaboration Center. Matter of fact, she's been really instrumental in autism, actually for any children with learning disabilities in Southern Nevada for many years now. She started Grant a Gift many years ago, but then her latest endeavor is the Collaboration Center, which she's been at for many, many years now, about 6 or 7, I think, at least 6. It seems like. And so she and many others are here to help these students and their families. It's a center that is holistic. They try to do everything there. We're diagnose, treat, make sure that the family has a place to be as well, take care of other kids who may not be on the autism spectrum, but they do everything there. So if you guys can help me make Linda Taché feel welcome, I appreciate it.
Senator Wynn.
I have a very special guest here with me on the floor today. I know him as my neighbor, my friend, occasional running and life coach, and you may all know him as a former colleague from Senate District 3. You also may know him as your current Clark County Commissioner, or some of you on this April 20th, 2023, may also know him as the godfather of cannabis. He has told me numerous times that the 120 days that we spend in this building has been some of the most influential and the best times of his political career. So please help me in welcoming Tick Segerblum back to the Senate chamber.
Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am delighted today to be able to introduce all of you to SEIU Local 1107, if all of you would rise here from SEIU. I'm joined on the floor by one of my constituents, Don Raylencotter, but there are thousands of SEIU members across Nevada. It is, in fact, the largest union of healthcare and public service workers in Nevada, representing over 19,000 employees. They are part of the Service Employees International Union, an organization of 2 million members, united by their belief in the dignity and worth of workers and the services they provide. SEIU Local 1107 is committed to advocating for quality healthcare and public services, good union jobs, and racial and economic justice for all Nevadans. Please help me make them feel welcome.
Senator Buck.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I have the honor to introduce a constituent of mine. Bill Supple is a wastewater professional with over 30 years of experience. He currently works for the Clark County Water Reclamation District. He has been in Nevada for the past 10 years after moving from Long Island, New York. He is joining us today from Henderson for SEIU Lobby Day as a union steward. Even better than his work with Clark County, he is a proud father to an assembly attaché in the building, Victoria, and was a gracious delivery driver yesterday, bringing barbecue from Tonopah on his drive up yesterday. So please join me in welcoming Bill to Carson City.
Senator Pizzina.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I would like to welcome today two women. One, I believe, from my district. We have from Bank of Nevada, Jerry Merritt, and we have from Lexicon Bank, Mindy Kerms. Thank you so much for coming out, and please make them feel welcome.
Senator Severs-Gansert.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have in the building today 4th and 5th graders from Peavine Elementary School. There's about 70 of them. I'm not sure if any of them are in the balcony. If they are, they could rise. Okay, so they're not here, but like I said, there's 70 of them. So if you see them, please help them feel welcome. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else, we will take a brief recess in order for our guests to exit the floor over here to my left. The Senate is back in order. We are on order of business 4, reports of committees.
Mr. President, your Committee on Government Affairs, to which were referred Senate Bills numbers 22 and 143, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back with the recommendation amend and do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Edgar Flores, Chair. Mr. President, your Committee on Health and Human Services, to which were referred Senate Bills numbers 146, 161, 192, and 348, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back with the recommendation amend and do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Fabian Danyate, Chair. Mr. President, your Committee on Health and Human Services, to which was referred Senate Bill number 441, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back with the recommendation without recommendation. Signed, Senator Fabian Danyate, Chair. Mr. President, your Committee on Judiciary, to which was referred Senate Bill number 410, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back with the recommendation amend and do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Melanie Scheibel, Chair. End of reports.
Order of business 6, messages from the Assembly.
Assembly Chamber, Carson City, April 19th, 2023. To the Honorable the Senate, I have the honor to inform your honorable body that the Assembly on this day passed Assembly Bills numbers 159, 359, 372, 394, 411, 437, 452, and 454. Also, I have the honor to inform your honorable body that the Assembly on this day passed as amended Assembly Bills numbers 21, 114, 116, 146, and 311. Signed, Carol Ayala Sala, Assistant Chief Clerk of the Assembly. End of messages.
Order of business 7, communications.
Congress of the United States, House of Representatives, Washington, D.C., 20515-3605, April 19th, 2023. The Honorable Steve Yeager, Speaker. The Honorable Nicole J. Cannizzaro, Majority Leader. 401 South Carson Street, Carson City, Nevada, 89701. Dear Speaker Yeager and Leader Cannizzaro, I'm requesting the opportunity to speak before the distinguished members of the Nevada State Legislature on Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. I look forward to addressing the joint session about pressing issues before the United States Congress in the upcoming months and their impact on the great state of Nevada. Please contact Kiana Schleman if you have any questions. Thank you in advance for your kind consideration. Sincerely, Susie Lee, Member of Congress. End of communications.
Order of business 8, waivers and exemptions.
Notice of exemption, April 20th, 2023. The Fiscal Analysis Division, pursuant to Joint Standing Rule 14.6, has determined the eligibility for exemption of Senate Bill number 159. Signed, Wayne Thorley, Fiscal Analysis Division. End of notices.
Order of business 9, motions, resolutions, and notices. Senator Cannizzaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 260, currently on the Secretary's desk, be taken from its place on the Secretary's desk and placed on the next agenda under general file.
Very good. You hold the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Senator Cannizzaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bills numbers 25, 26, 184, 194, and 251 be taken from their positions on general file and placed on general file for the next legislative day.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Senator Cannizzaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bills numbers 61, 133, and 211 be taken from their positions on general file and placed on the Secretary's desk for the purposes of amendments and some additional questions.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Senator Dondero Loop.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 159 be taken from its position on general file and be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Senator Lang has approved the addition of Senator Hammond as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 276, and that concludes Order of Business 9.
Thank you. Order of business 10, introduction, first reading, and reference.
Assembly Bill 21 by the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor revises provisions related to persons engaged in the transmission of money and certain related activities, refer to Commerce and Labor. Assembly Bill 114 by Assemblywoman Thomas and Senator Wynn revises provisions governing the Nevada Early Childhood Advisory Council, refer to Health and Human Services. Assembly Bill 116 by Assemblywoman Brown May, etc., revises the provision of information and referrals concerning Down syndrome under certain circumstances, refer to Health and Human Services. Assembly Bill 146 by Assemblywoman Marzola revises provisions governing video service, refer to Commerce and Labor. Assembly Bill 159 by Assemblyman O'Neill, etc., revises provisions relating to cruelty to animals, refer to Judiciary. Assembly Bill 311 by Assemblywoman Bilbray Axelrod, etc., revises provisions governing healthcare, refer to Health and Human Services. Assembly Bill 359 by Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno, etc., revises provisions relating to the imposition by certain counties of additional taxes on fuels for motor vehicles, refer to Revenue and Economic Development. Assembly Bill 372 by the Committee on Education, revises provisions relating to higher education, refer to Education. Assembly Bill 394 by the Assembly Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, revises provisions governing elections, refer to Legislative Operations and Elections. Assembly Bill 411 by the Assembly Committee on Judiciary requires certain medical facilities to allow certain patients who are terminally ill to engage in the medical use of cannabis at the medical facility, refer to Health and Human Services. Assembly Bill 437 by the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor limits the amount a provider of health care may charge for filling out certain forms associated with certain leaves of absence, refer to Commerce and Labor. Assembly Bill 452 by the Assembly Committee on Judiciary revises provisions relating to visitation with offenders in correctional institutions or facilities, refer to Judiciary. Assembly Bill 454 by the Assembly Committee on Judiciary revises provisions relating to legal services for indigent defendants, refer to Judiciary. End of Assembly Bills.
Senator Lang.
Thank you. I move to refer the bills as read with the exception of Assembly Bill 359.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Cannizzaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. May we go to order of business number 9?
Okay, we're on order of business 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend Senate Standing Rule number 40 and to refer Assembly Bill 259 to the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay.
And Mr. President, I think I said 259. I meant to say, I believe, 359, not 259.
Okay, thank you. You heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
That concludes order of business 10.
Okay, we're on order of business 12, second reading.
Senate Bill 354, introduced by Senator Scheibel, revises provisions relating to justices of the peace, the people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, to enact as follows, Section 1 and Section 1.
Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 279, proposed by the Senate Committee on Judiciary.
Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of Amendment 279.
If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Scheibel.
I move to adopt Amendment 279 to Senate Bill 354.
You've heard the motion. Senator Scheibel.
The amendment replaces the original bill language and provides that in addition to any other requirement under law or court rule, a justice of peace who is not licensed and admitted to practice law in the courts of the state must, within 18 months of taking the oath of office, pass a test prescribed by the Supreme Court covering topics related to the duties of a justice of the peace.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. SB 354 is ordered reprinted, engrossed, and to the general file.
That concludes order of business 12.
Okay, order of business 13, general file.
Senate Bill 21, introduced by Government Affairs, revises certain classifications based on populations. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, to enact as follows, Section 1 and Section 1.
Are there any amendments?
There are none. Section 23, this act becomes effective upon passage and approval. End of bill.
I'm going to speak on this. Senator Krasner, do you have this? Now you do.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 21 raises the county population threshold from 45,000 to 52,000 for various purposes related to county offices, county property sales and leases, emergency telephone systems, planning commissions, libraries, recycling, interactive gaming licensure, and others. Thank you.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the secretary will open the roll. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the secretary will close the roll. The ayes are 21, the nays are 0. SB 21 has received a constitutional majority, is declared passed and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 83, introduced by Senator Daley, revises provisions governing the confidentiality of the personal information of certain civilian employees of law enforcement agencies. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1.
Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none. Section 4, end of Section 4, end of bill.
Senator Daley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 83 adds certain civilian employees of law enforcement agencies to the list of persons and entities authorized to request that personal information contained in the records of a county assessor, county recorder, secretary of state, or a county or city clerk remain confidential. Similarly, the bill adds such persons to the list, those authorized to request the Department of Motor Vehicles display an alternate address on the person's driver's license, commercial driver's license, or identification card.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the secretary will open the roll. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the secretary will close the roll. 21 ayes, 0 nays. SB 83 has received a constitutional majority, is declared passed and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 171, introduced by Senators Harris, etc., revises provisions governing firearms. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1.
Are there any amendments?
There are none. Section 3, this act becomes effective on July 1, 2023, end of bill.
Senator Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 171 prohibits a person from purchasing, owning, or having possession, control, or custody of a firearm if the person has been convicted in the immediately preceding 10 years of committing or attempted to commit an offense that is a gross misdemeanor constituting a hate crime under Nevada law or a similar offense under federal, other state, territory, or district law. The same prohibitions on firearm supply if the person has been convicted of committing or attempting to commit certain violent offenses that constitute a hate crime. The provisions of this bill do not apply to a person who's been convicted of any of these offenses prior to July 1, 2023, and who owns, possesses, or has under his or her custody or control a firearm that he or she legally owned before that date. The bill is effective on January 1, 2023.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Senator Severs-Gansert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in opposition to Senate Bill 171. The language is very expansive. It adds, we already have enhancements for hate crimes. This expands the definition of hate crime and creates a new category, which would be hate crime involving violence. And an individual's Second Amendment right is very powerful and important, and we're looking at gross misdemeanors, which are a pretty low-level offense. I appreciate the consideration of oppose this bill. Thank you.
Any further remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the secretary will open the roll. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the secretary will close the roll. The ayes are 13, the nays are 8. SB 171 has received a constitutional majority, is declared passed and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 180, introduced by Senator Goycochea, revises provisions relating to groundwater boards. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1.
Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none. Section 3, this act becomes effective on July 1, 2023, end of bill.
Senator Goycochea.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 180 authorizes the Board of County Commissioners to request that the state engineer establish a groundwater board for a designated basin and appoint 7 members to serve on the board without compensation. The bill also authorizes the Board of County Commissioners to appoint a non-voting member to the board and provides that the groundwater board must be dissolved after 4 years unless the state engineer approves a request from the Board of County Commissioners to continue the board. Finally, the bill provides that the board may dissolve itself by a majority vote of the bill, effective July 1st, 2023. It's only enabling legislation that allows counties to deal with water impacts in their county on a basin-by-basin basis. Thank you.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the Secretary will open the roll. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the Secretary will close the roll. 21 ayes, 0 nays. SB 180 has received the constitutional majority, is declared passed, and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 196, introduced by Senator Hammond, revises provisions relating to interscholastic activities and events. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 and Section 1.
Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none. Section 8 and Section 8 and a bill.
Senator Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 196 codifies into law an existing regulation prohibiting a coach, manager, or other person associated with a sanctioned sport or spirit squad at a school from making a pupil's participation in and out of school activity a condition for qualifying for or becoming a member of a team. Additionally, SB 196 requires each such coach, manager, or other person to submit an annual report to the Nevada Interscholastic Activities Association with information on whether the person also coaches, manages, or is otherwise associated with an out-of-school activity related to the same sport or spirit squad with which they are involved at school. The bill also requires notification to pupils and their parents or legal guardians concerning the rights afforded to pupils while participating in a sanctioned sport or other interscholastic activity or event. The association must prescribe a system of progressive discipline for violations of these reporting and notification requirements. Finally, SB 196 provides additional eligibility for pupils enrolled in certain grades during the COVID-19 pandemic state of emergency to participate in certain interscholastic activities.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the Secretary will open the roll. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the Secretary will close the roll. The ayes are 21, nays are 0. SB 196 has received the constitutional majority, is declared passed, and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 247, introduced by Government Affairs, revises provisions relating to regional planning. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 and Section 1.
Are there any amendments?
There are none. Section 15 and Section 15 and a bill.
Senator Flores.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 247 authorizes, instead of requires, the Board of County Commissioners and the City Council of each of the 3 largest cities in the county whose population is 700,000 or more to establish a regional planning coalition by cooperative agreement.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the Secretary will open the roll. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the Secretary will close the roll. The ayes are 21, nays 0. SB 247 has received the constitutional majority, is declared passed, and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 257, introduced by Senator Daley, revises provisions governing tax abatements for certain renewable energy facilities. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 and Section 1.
Are there any amendments?
There are none. Section 3, this act becomes effective on July 1, 2023, and expires by limitation on June 30th, 2049. End of bill.
Senator Daley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 257 revises payroll reporting requirements for certain renewable energy facilities that receive certain tax abatements and requires payroll and compliance reports to be submitted quarterly during the term of construction and annual reports to be submitted as required at all other times. The term of construction commences when the building permit is issued by the applicable city or county and does not end until the facility goes online or at another time that is determined by the Director of the Office of Energy within the Office of the Governor.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the Secretary will open the roll. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the Secretary will close the roll. Ayes are 21, nays 0. SB 257 has received the constitutional majority, is declared passed and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 258, introduced by Senator Orenshaw, revises provisions relating to water. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 and Section 1.
Are there any amendments?
There are none. Section 10, this act becomes effective on July 1, 2023. End of bill.
Senator Orenshaw.
Thank you, President. Senate Bill 258 provides that the state engineer may grant a temporary change of the place of diversion, manner of use, or place of use of water already appropriated for a period of more than 1 year, but not to exceed 3 years, if the temporary change is for a renewable energy generation project.
Are there any remarks from the floor? Seeing none, the Secretary will open the roll. Anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the Secretary will close the roll. Ayes are 21, nays 0. SB 258 has received a constitutional majority, is declared passed and ordered to the Assembly.
Senate Bill 259, introduced by Senators Dondero Loop, Canizaro, Doñate, Harris, Wynn, and Bazina, revises provisions relating to alcoholic beverages. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 and Section 1.
Are there any amendments?
There are none. Section 3, end of subsection 2, end of bill.
Senator Dondero Loop.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 259 authorizes a winery licensed on or after October 1st, 2015 to sell or serve its wine at one other location other than on its premises of the winery if the winery uses more than 25% of fruit grown or honey produced within the state. If the winery uses less than 25% of fruit grown or honey produced within the state, this bill increases from 1,000 to 2,000 the number of cases of wine sold or served at the winery or one other location, and additionally authorizes such a winery to sell or serve not more than 150 barrels of cider produced by the winery per calendar year. In addition, the bill authorizes the State Board of Agriculture to create a certification for wine produced, blended, or aged from fruit grown or honey produced in this state based on an applicant winery's federal alcohol and tobacco tax and Trade Bureau filings. Further, the bill revises provisions that govern the process for when a board of county commissioners or the governing board of a city may recommend to the Department of Taxation the suspension or revocation of the license of the brew pub, instructional winemaking facility, craft distillery, or estate distillery to include that such a decision or the decisions to dismiss a complaint must be rendered within 60 days after a citation is served upon a licensee. This bill is effective upon passage and approval for the purpose of adopting regulations and performing other preparatory administrative tasks on October 1st, 2023, and I would suggest we all drink wine and not wine. Thank you.
Any remarks from the floor? Senator Buck.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support today because of two reasons. First, I like to make wine, especially at Grape Expectations in my district. And I think it'll be great for redevelopment there on Water Street for them to be able to sell wine and have a wine tasting location. So I rise in support, and I commend the author of the bill, and thank you so much.
Any further remarks? Seeing none, the Secretary will open the roll. Anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, the Secretary will close the roll. 21 ayes, 0 nays. SB 259 has received the constitutional majority, is declared passed and ordered to the Assembly. Senator Canizaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that at this time the Senate stand in recess until the call of the chair.
Okay, we are on recess.
Mr. President, if you don't mind, I just want to announce that Judiciary Committee will start at 1:30 today.